It all started in the 1970s, a slow, steady shadow sliding across America's highways, a predator who learned to vanish into the margins. For decades, he hunted people the rest of society too often ignored. Sex workers, people living on the edges, women whose disappearances rarely sparked the media storm that wealthier victims did. His name eventually was Samuel Little. By the time he was finally stopped, he would admit to almost 100 murders. Investigators would validate dozens of them. But the story isn't just about one man's violence. It's a case study in how bias, jurisdictional fragmentation, forensic limits, and simple human blind spots can let a serial killer slip through the cracks for decades. This script is a careful walk through that history. The crimes, the evidence, the missed chances, the breakthrough, and the wrenching aftermath. I'll move chronologically where it helps the story, but I'll also pause to analyze, because the Samuel Little saga is both a timeline of atrocities and a living lesson for law enforcement, communities, and anyone who wants to understand how violence becomes invisible. Samuel Little's early life reads, in places, like a catalog of risk factors. Born in 1940, he grew up amid poverty, abandonment, and instability. His mother struggled with addiction and was incarcerated at times. His father's identity and involvement were murky. As a child, he experienced neglect and trauma. As an adolescent, he got into trouble with theft and petty crimes and cycled through juvenile institutions and later prisons. Those early years aren't an excuse for what he would do. They're context. Psychologists study such trajectories not to excuse, but to map how a combination of personal history, opportunity, and choice produces violence. From the 1970s onward, Little embarked on a life of long-distance movement. He was transient by inclination and by necessity. No fixed home, odd jobs, and periods of homelessness. That mobility became a weapon. If a crime occurred in one county or state, witnesses or records would rarely tie it to a pattern that crossed lines. Little's chosen victims, often working on the margins, were likewise mobile and frequently vulnerable to stigma. Those two facts, his own mobility and his victims' precarious social positions, created the perfect storm for evasion. We must say plainly, Samuel